Okay, white screen, white Mario. Hopefully it doesn't crash immediately when we hit this point. Good. Someone is doing something fishy with all of this. Well, that was fun. I enjoyed that. After all of the patching effort, that was a really great level. I don't know why I bothered. Thank you for playing Prelude to Epilogue to the Prelude to the Zoo. Now open the ROM as a zip archive. You know, I should have just done that from the get-go. Change extension to .zip will help. Make sure to read the included README PDF. PDF? Thank you for playing. Okay, great. This was mildly annoying for what it was. All right, cool. Prelude, done. All right, well, now let's open up a zip and look at a PDF file, which I already discovered the zip while I was trying to debug this. All right, let me change over so we can read this. All right. 72 hour QLDC number 2, epilogue to the prelude to the zoo. Welcome to my QLDC entry. I was a little strapped for time. So sorry if the level wasn't that interesting, but it was mostly a formality. I would now like to turn your attention to the grave injustice served by Idle during QLDC 3 earlier this year. What? Her frankly iconic Prelude to the Zoo was absolutely robbed by the judges at the time. No top 3, no distinction. What the hell is this? I do not remember there being a Prelude to the Zoo, and we just had to wait for this. This was in professional level. Like, this wasn't Prelude to the Zoo. This was judging level, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure that was called judging level. It's the picture of dog level? Oh, the picture of dog level. D drive reveal? Oh no, you get to see the Dropbox. I'm fine with that. Okay, the picture of dog level. Yeah, no, it was. I disagree as one of the judges. It was absolutely not robbed at all. It was a picture of a dog. I like the Game of Life level better, in all honesty. The rest of this entry and document will seek to remedy this error, which will not be happening as one of the judges, highlight parts of the entry that may have gone unnoticed at the time, and will further attempt to put their own spin on this iconic entry, proving it is not only a great piece, which is not true, false news, at least as worthy of the basis of hacking as the original game. Alright, introduction. You know, LaTeX. Friggin' LaTeX. The funny thing is that's not what I even remember it being called, Prelude to the Zoo. It actually had a name in there. The impenetrable gaze of whatever is what I ended up calling it in my sheet. Alright, first let me display some of your potential concerns. You may ask yourself something like, how did we get here? And is this okay? And understand, hear your concerns. I assure you it is perfectly acceptable for you to be reading this right now. This document, as well as anything else in the zip, are totally fine for you to include in your judging. After all, they are part of the entry file. There's no ambiguity at all over whether or not this was any part of the entry or not. Secondly, you might ask yourself, but why? Boy, have I. It's a trivial matter, really. I simply am not allowed to submit something other than a BPS patch your entry and then had jumped through some hoops in order to ensure the ROM output when patching entry was a valid zip file. Simple reality of situation. I don't know why you couldn't have just concatenated the two things. That's how that usually works. Why would a BPS have problems with that? The simple reality of situation may ask why not submit a zip file with the stuff rather than inside of a BPS. The reason, again, is that your entry would not be the zip file. Entry would be merely contained in the zip file. A small difference in theory, but in practice, it is what allows you to judge the zip file as your actual entry, rather than feeling conflicted about whether submitting a zip rather than a BPS as an entry is okay. With that out of the way, if this is friggin' idle, let us turn to the actual topic of discussion. Yep. Figure 1. Level 105 of the original Prelude to the Zoo. Prelude to the Zoo. You may consider listening to the port using this entry as we go along in order to enhance our experience. Sure, why not? We're already invested in this. I can't actually hear this, and I suspect none of you can either. Punt this redeem. I definitely will be. We'll take it down another notch. Here we go. Boop. You can hear it. I can't. Let me make it so I can hear it. I don't even know what I don't even remember this. That level was not very memorable in many ways, aside from being the picture for the dog level. All right. The entry. What can be said about this entry that hasn't been said already? An icon of its time, early 2025. We're all a little happier and sprier still, a time of dogs and marble floors, a time to frolic and be merry. It was the 3rd February at 1:48 for the hacker in question that the enigmatic Prelude entry arrived in particular life. Draped in a satin cloak of that waxing cold early year moan, as if riding on a dream. There was a distinct simplicity, and yet obvious sophistication to the prelude. Didn't AI write this? We enter the experience immediately. No overworld, no Nintendo Presents, not even a mere coin chime marks our arrival. The main part is very short overall, fully fitting into Figure 1, which we'll look at again. It's a picture of a dog. The first thing we sense is the music. It appears before the prelude has even fully come into view. The whimsical, calm song. It immediately primes our expectations. It is not the music of running, fighting, beating. There is a sense that we're in a place that is safe and non-threatening, almost as if it's a save file song. The message. As the area comes into view, we are greeted with the text that may or may not seem innocent or simple at first glance, but contains, in fact, a multitude of mysterious tidbits for us to sink our interpretational teeth into, if we so desire. This should have been a figure, by the way. Would have been way better to see it in game because it looks much sillier rendered like this. Today's piece is titled Eye of Dog, Impregnable Gaze by Untitled Artist, conceived by unknown parent. Please enjoy. Several things draw our attention immediately. The text appears as if we are entering some kind of museum exhibition. It is certainly a song, it's true. Amethyst played this. Why? Really, why? Text appears we're entering some kind of museum or art exhibition space. Yet the entry's name is Prelude to the Zoo, which, as judges, we didn't know. I want to stress that point. We quite literally did not have that piece of information. I don't know why anyone thought this was called Prelude to the Zoo, because I just called it Enigmatic Eye of Dog, Impregnable Gaze, which is a much better name because it basically is the title of the piece, which is up here that we can see, which arguably isn't the entire piece, but still is the piece itself. Did not know this, never bothered looking it up. Moreover, how come the artist is untitled? That's because artists do this all the time. What does it mean for an artist to be untitled? One might assume this was a mistake, yet that simply cannot be the case, as the more usual unknown or anonymous, is used right after the reference to the parent. Note also that the piece does not appear to have a date of creation, which is unusual for an art piece. It can be, it depends upon the piece, really. The walk-up. Following the message, we gain actual control of our character, which I refer to as Mario from now on for simplicity. Our environment appears as if we made some sort of marble. If made of some sort of marble, perhaps everything is blindingly bright. We face right, a rather conventional choice, and are immediately aware that there is nothing to be gained from walking the 2 tiles to the left, as there is clearly only a cold marble wall awaiting us. As we walk about a screen worth to the right, we exit the little 3-tile tall hall and enter what appears to be a rather large room of sorts. We continue and finally find ourselves face to face with what I will henceforth refer to as the dog. The dog appears in a wooden frame, large and imposing compared to Mario. Notably, it appears fairly dark compared to the rest of the area, which draws additional attention to it. Due to the contrast, the figure in the wooden frame, the dog, a pit bull, which I don't care much for as dogs, with a particular smile, sat on a brown couch. Feels confrontational, ambiguous, not hostile, but uncertain. We have already been primed to view its gaze as impregnable, and so we do. The stage was set, and we have arrived at the center. It is likely most people would stop here for a little bit, likely right underneath the frame, as to appreciate the sudden feeling of a presence. Prelude to the Zoo for Her Majesty's QLDC. Our ability to present this gallery is thanks to our contributors. There was a friggin' credit sequence. I even forgot there was a credit sequence. That's how unmemorable this level was for me. The exit. After admiring the dog, we move further to the right, towards what appears to be the exit of the exhibition. Would love to see the egress. Exactly as narrow as the space as we started in, we can tell it is the way to leave the area. The screen stops scrolling as it comes into view. It is a simple affair, much shorter than the area we covered as we walked up the dog, and far, far shorter than this friggin' essay. Upon leaving the credits. Upon leaving the area, the credits start immediately, resolving all tension of the dog's ambiguous glaze. All questions exit our mind. We have done it, so to speak. The start of the credits, as shown in Figure 2, is of particular interest, as it is different from the base game. The creators of the base game are relegated to mere contributors to the gallery we just visited. In a metatextual way, though, it is still true that the gallery would only be presented due to these contributors, just not in the way usually associated with a gallery. It is very worth noting that the author of this entry is actually revealed suddenly at the endless contributors at the very bottom of the screen, as seen in Figure 3. While an author revealed is unconventional in QLDC, not terribly. This is in fact legal in QLDC3 for the first time. People always go and give their names, and I don't know why. While you're not supposed to, people frequently do this, even in regular contests. I could name people who consistently do this. It's very strange to me. Is this really just going to be the rambling so mad for the last act? If Idle submitted this, I'm just going to be disappointed in her, really. Maybe it did. It's called Prelude to the Zoo. Get robbed of information we get the compiled. Yeah, I do actually get robbed of that information. So, like, as a judge, I did not know that and never looked in the thread. That's what you do when you're a judge. You don't look at the thread. And I didn't afterwards. And typically what ends up happening with level names is I'm the only person who writes them down. So whatever I call them is what they're put in the sheet as. Anyway, the intermission. Funnily, after the initial credit sequence, we are briefly reunited with the dog as Yoshi's house. Part of the overall credits takes place. We simply cannot escape its strange smile and empty doll-like eyes. Idle's farewell. Okay. I'm not sure what I should be seeing here. In 3. Am I supposed to be seeing something here? I'm missing whatever it is there. Maybe it's just too dark for me to see it. Alright. God, how much more is there? There's still like 4 pages of this shit. Alright. The zoo! It is, in my view, inarguable what follows after this point is the actual zoo, as the title speaks of. As the enemies of the original base game are shown, we slowly come to realize the brief sequence we just played, though earlier took no time at all compared to the zoo we have now found ourselves in, and thus truly was a prelude as we were promised. Peculiarities. Description of the events of the prelude so far have only maintained the obvious. There are some notable additional points of interest we'll now elaborate on. The ambiguous exit. While I have described the credits as starting immediately upon exiting the area, this is not necessarily true. In a few of your playthroughs, the area loops back to the start when you exit it. It is unclear what triggers this, if it's intentional, and whether it's a common occurrence. Initially thought this might be required to appreciate the dog for at least a set amount of time. Does not appear to be the case, as longer appreciation does not always reliably trigger the credits. This would warrant further investigation, but alas, there are a few hours and 72 hours to be devoted to such a detailed work as you write this in LaTeX. The zoo's colors. The castle tile set appears to have had its colors altered. It is visible in the zoo in a few points you can see in Figure 4. This is likely due the altered palette in the zoo sequence. There's an incredibly awkward squelching here. Where was this? This is likely due to the gallery level also being Castle 1's tile set. And thus, alterations to this level's palettes have been carried over into the overall castle tile set, which is used in the credits. Though interestingly, the alterations to the castle tile set palette do not perfectly line up with the palette that's actually used in the gallery, suggesting the tile set palette was either altered deliberately or altered in some way at some point, and then decoupled from the gallery's palette. Most likely it was a base ROM thing at some point, that would be my assumption. The second dog. We revisit the dog in the intermission part of the credit sequence. Thus it follows that a dog must be present in level 104 of the prelude. As can be seen in Figure 3. As can be seen in Figure 5. The gallery we walked through in level 105 was already shown in Figure 1. Thus we can see there are in fact 2 separate dogs present in the entry. A deliberate action. It is unambiguously intentional that we are confronted with the dog's gaze twice through our experience. Initial notes. The dog behind the dog. Can I not see the level? Actually, no, I can't. Like, that, from my perspective, is literally invisible. Let me see how it looks on the stream. Yeah, no. On my projector, that is invisible. The contrast is not high enough. I can see it now if I turn up the contrast, the brightness on my laptop, but I definitely cannot see it outside of that. Projector problems. Now, where was I in this gobbledygook? Okay, the dog behind the dog. Here we go. Thus far, treated the dog as a mere symbol, yet it is in fact not just any old dog, but a specific well-known dog named Maddie. According to Know Your Meme, Maddie is a female pit bull rescue known as Pero XD, with a smile often viewed as both humorous and highly unsettling. Particular image we see of Maddie in this entry originates around March 2018 and is likely either the exact image from Instagram shown in figure 6 or closely related. Yeah, that sure looks like that picture. Those who don't check in stories, here's a picture of Maddie smiling. It is interesting to note here that while it's not easily visible in the entry, there is in fact a second dog image in the lower right. This isn't easily missed in the entry, as the dog is largely brown and lost in the color reduction of the graphic strip used in the entry. Oh, yeah, I guess there is one. But the white paw is still easy to spot. Note that since Maddie is a rescue, her parents may in fact be unknown, just as the opening message of the entry alluded to. The music's origin. The music used in this entry is Save Screen from LCDDEM, the Yume Nikki fan game. Strangely, the entry uses the unsampled version of the port, even though both sampled and unsampled versions of it were added to the SMW Central Music section back in 2020. The only reason for this can come up with is that the comedic effect of this entry is further improved by the credit music breaking somewhat, largely due to this choice of port, though I'm not entirely familiar with the mechanism at play here. An appeal. As stated in the introduction, I believe this entry deserves more than it got at the time. While judges' prizes and reaction generally seem positive, the end result, no top 3 trophy, no distinction, lead one to question the overall treatment of the prelude. Clearly, many details were missed by the attentive, distracted, or indifferent, hey, it's me, judges. And anonymous streamers' reaction to the prelude. Hey, that might be author blues, but it might be me. I don't know. Well, I'm obviously unsatisfied with the panel's decision on this entry and wish to sum up what appears to be a true unfiltered collective reaction of the panel into one single image. I do not wish to call out any individual judge in particular and thus have anonymized the individual shown reacting in figure 7. The expression of disdain could not be clearer. If you could see my face when I judged that, I would definitely have disdain on my face. I turn the brightness up on your laptop too. That makes sense. Again, like, when you're, this is kind of a general art thing, right? Is the framing of the art does make a huge difference in how you view it. The Mona Lisa viewed in a dark room is not terribly interesting. And in the case of Mario World, right, like frequently because of people's different setups, this was very evident on ROM Hack Race's days, you could see that people's colors, shapes were very different depending upon their captures. And some of that represented whether or not they were in an emulator or coming through a different capture card or something. And even then, that doesn't guarantee what they're seeing aligns with what you're seeing in the stream. Like if I'm playing on the projector, everything's gonna be a bit more muted for me. But if I bust out the CRT, it'll be the right colors, but it'll also be shifted a little bit weirdly because the CRT is not a great CRT that I own. So there's trade-offs here. But like it does, the framing of the art, no pun intended, does change how you see it. Recontextualizes, I suppose, would be the term that this author might use. Where were we? Unsatisfied, figure 7. Recommend as part of the next section document that any judge reading right now, me, who was involved in the grave injustice, briefly stop and replay the original prelude to the zoo and seriously reconsider their decision from the last time. While it's unprecedented, it should, in their view, be perfectly acceptable to award distinctions or even a top 3 trophies to extraordinary entries such as the prelude after judgment has concluded, especially when an error has so clearly taken place. Okay, I guess we can do that. Position anyone reading this to please make your voices heard and seek injustice for Prelude. No. Thank you, your efforts will not be in vain. They will, if there's any sense in the world. There isn't. Okay. Epilogue, as promised, will not display one quick motion. The Prelude is a work of art that cannot be repeated and simultaneously. I guess if we're going to do this, we may as well do this before we get to this point. Do I still even have this thing on my Super Nintendo? I'm leaving the music alone until we have this settled. I don't even remember what number it was. The Eye of Dog. If I have it, I'll do it. Otherwise, I'll have to go find it. I don't know where it'll be. Eye of Dog. It was number 56. Let's see if I have it on here. Definitely not in recents. Hacks. Do QLDC, CLDC, FR, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I do still have it here, actually. All right, cool. I'll boot it up. And then I'll play it in QOBS, because there's not any reason not to. But I am willing to put the work in. Yep. Today's piece is entitled Eye of Dog, Impenetrable Gaze by Untitled Artist, conceived by unknown parent. Please enjoy. Yep, sure is dog. Yeah, I don't feel any different this time around. Yeah, I could have done it that way, but I didn't. Yeah. Prelude to the Zoo. For Her Majesty's QLDC, our ability to present this gallery has been thanks to our contributors, all of the people who are generally in the general Mario world. Credits anyway, as we've long covered. Alright, well that was fun. Let's go back to the text, because I don't think we really need to see this again. We've already seen it. But we did it. We went and looked at it. Alright, let's finish up this part. Okay, unmute. Epilogue. As promised, but not display one swift motion, the Prelude is a work of art that cannot be repeated, and simultaneously that it offers at least as good of a basis for modification as the classical game we base our works upon, if not better. To apply, Epilogue to Prelude to the Zoo, follow these steps, acquire clean Mario ROM, download this one. Is it literally? Okay, I guess we'll just do that now. If this is idle. Apply Prelude to the Zoo BPS patch to your clean ROM using flips. Optionally, skip and appreciate the original Prelude before continuing, which you already did. If you are an original judge of the Prelude, you may consider this option non-optional. I mean, I would have considered it optional regardless, but I did it out of spite, possibly. Apply the Epilogue to the Prelude to the Zoo patch from the zip archive to the ROM produced in Step 3. Absorb a slightly different spin on a postmodern classic with many small modifications. Okay. Beautiful. Let's see if I can get this to work then, without having to suffer, as we already have here. Okay, back to the Super Nintendo. Of course it didn't copy. Why wouldn't it copy? Alright. I mean, it's also in the zip file, but it's in a file bin, and that's easier to work with, in all honesty, if it does come along. See if this works. It did not. That would be so convenient. Works with WGET. I probably need to fix it with the key thing. The key is probably out of break with the Cloudflare issues. This is 24-2.bps. Okay. Let me switch inputs so I can see this again. We're also going to go look in their dang Git folder after this, because, man, I want to. Okay. And it's doing the thing. Let's just have a fresh installation. My entire comment for this just might be, your appeal has been read and rejected. Alright, there we go. Oh, I'll have to fix that afterwards. It's already gonna be messy anyway. Oh look, today's piece is titled Eye of Dog, Impenetrable Gaze. Untitled Artist, conceived by unknown parent. Please enjoy. This better be Tricky the Clown or something. It's the same damn picture. Is this literally just the same thing? Is this the same BPS? Like, am I being pranked? No? Prelude to the Zoo. Did I misread this? I feel I've been pranked. No, that's Prelude to the Zoo. This was instructions on how to do the thing I already did. Alright, well, that was fun. Absolutely. Absolutely trolling. Alright, we'll let that run while I go get this fixed. I need to get the other one out of here. In a place where I can get to it. That's not annoying. Okay. Give me a second. I regret this. Of course that wasn't going to work. Why would that have worked? Okay, cool. CP. How's that you doing, robot? Fizzunk. It's a great name. Yes. Epilogue to the prelude to the zoo. Give this a proper reset because I think it was still doing the thing. And remember to include the I, which I'll have to fix up later because it's going to be annoying anyway. Okay, good. It's not doing that. And it failed to load. Oh, I have to apply it to the Okay, fine. I understand now. That's the part I was missing. I thought I needed to apply it to the thing we just did. I have to apply it to the friggin' zoo one, which, okay, I do have a copy of that. Okay. I'm going to be honest, they've already made me read a whole bunch of gobbledygook. I'm not terribly excited about this, and my guess is I'm going to end up being disappointed. Like, I'm just going to say that right now. My expectations are incredibly low. Okay, epilogue to the prelude to zoo. Down to temp. Get prelude to the zoo. I should have dropped it in here, shouldn't it? Where? It's not in here. Why isn't it in here? We literally just did this. Oh, 24.2. There we go. All right, it seems happy with that. We'll just put it in temp and then move it. Okay. This definitely put a crimp in my normal plans and how I do this sort of thing. Okay. There it is. All right, with any luck, we'll actually get to see something now. Okay, we're just going to do this backwards. Alright, so there's nothing in there. Today's piece was titled Prelude to the Zoo by Untitled Idol. You have enjoyed. What is the argument I do? It ignores processing something later on. Is this really what this does? Was that literally it? Like, someone else saw someone else play this, right? Like, there's more. It's not just doing this backwards. So we'll reset it. Can I go out? No. Can I wait around for something to happen? I honestly feel this was just basically a tremendous waste of my time unless, like, some creepypasta shit's about to happen. Like, is the corner here? Can we do something with the corner? Like, seriously, I took 30 minutes of reading and everything else to get to this point. I feel eminently trolled, I think. Maybe the git holds the answer. Oh, we're going to look at the git. All right, let's reload it without any stuff. Did not anyone want to go through this whole rigmarole and go bot hunting? If you'd like to, if you're willing to, I'd be happy for that. But otherwise, like, this is what it is. Like, loading it without my stuff just in case somehow it's breaking, which it could if there's doing something really interesting. But it doesn't really look like they've done anything interesting. It looks like this has just been a silly waste of everyone's time. Well, let's go look at the git. Maybe if we wait long enough, something will happen. Not really rigged up for it, but we're going to do it. Firefox. Guess we'll unpause the music. so I can hear. And I'll stay on this in case something happens, then we can jump back over to it. Alright. Let me see. Don't want to show you all too much stuff. You do this really quick. Clear. Volumes D. There's no mount is where it is. Okay, cool. Let's see if we can actually make this work. Window capture. Yeah, window capture 7. We're not gonna do this for a minute. We're barely going to do this. Ubuntu, this one. I have no idea how it's gonna look. It doesn't look too bad. All right, cool. Do back to this. Get status. All right. Well, they clearly have modified these since they last did anything. Get log. All right. Well, darken Mario palette. Fix chime on presents. Change title and restructure. Add readme. Update notes. Add v4. A new direction. Add admission. Okay, maybe this is actually where the actual thing is here. Holy cow. Fix is not going after the credits text. Going further confusion. Add exhibit similarly with behavior. Doesn't seem to send you to the credits. Not sure what to do about this in the long term. Adds a new palette and music that really accentuate the attention of the dog. It works. Another option. I'm going to have to go back and revert this to figure out how to do this. This is okay. A discovery. Get some answers. Ask more questions. Oh, for fuck's sake. This is going to take forever. Remove flips. Why would they need flips? Already patched it. All right. Well... let's check out the initial notes. Let's check out the initial notes. But I just told you to... okay, I just said get stash. Why didn't I get stash? Alright, fine. We'll check these out really quick. I'll get to see how bad I am at Git. And forget that I need to quote things. I'm just going to get the real keyboard for this. This is getting annoying. Synergy is not great for this. I also didn't expect to need the keyboard right now. Nobody knows Git. It's true in a way. Okay, Git checkout. Alright, cool. Now we can actually... why is this not happening? Okay, fine. Seems like this Git thing is haunted. Nightmare of having to work Git online stream. Yeah. What am I using for typing notes? Vim. And Git. You're not wrong. Untracked files. Data. What's in data? Data. File data. It's data. Do I have BVI installed? I do! Okay. I see 512 bytes of zeros. I have a pretty good idea what I'm going to find around here. Yep, that's no big surprise there. Thank you for giving me the headered ROM, I guess. That's kind of nice of you. How to switch keyboards? So I use Synergy for most of my keyboarding stuff, but Synergy is kind of annoying. Because sometimes it just decides not to work right. Well, this does look this looks like it may have been modified. Maybe this is what we want to be playing? Because the other one looks like crap. So I'm using a real keyboard. Also, what's up, Hairline Salty? How you doing? Auth did get past the black screen. Okay. This is getting... I'm surprised Author didn't get past the black screen. I know he knows... I'm certain he knows Git. I mean, I don't know he knows Git, but I'm certain he knows Git. He teaches CS stuff. Maybe he's like a dyed-in-the-wool SVN guy. Oh. He's a Perforce guy. Alright, well, this is a ROM file. We could try this one. That is an option here. I can't seem to get Git to work right, because usually Git stash takes you out of this state, or get other things. Git checkout. Like, git checkout dot usually fixes the world, but this doesn't want to fix, and I don't know why. Search for lunar magic string. Good point. Fish. Fish? Forget if lunar magic's capitalized or not. There you go. What? That's... Someone else is using this area? Because that's not the message I remember there. Did lunar magic change the message? I'll have to bring up the commit message briefly, but called it there. I don't blame him. Alright, fine. I guess we'll add epilogue to prelude to ruin and readme. You would be shocked at how often that's literally my git commit messages. Dot data is probably the thing we're most interested in, but we can at least look at the... I want to check this out at a different part. So, like, I'm interested in this one. God, was it that bad? Was it back that far? Alright, I'm going to detach head. I'm fine with that. I have to remember how to get out of it. What is word? Set wrap? There we go. Kind of challenging to make a ROM that also be a zip if you care about the actual archiving software opening it, not just the technically following the format. Yeah. Gonna submit an IPS patch, but it's a BPS patch, but I guess it technically is, kind of. Otherwise, either... A, the ROM header needs to match exactly. Since B or B, flips will necessarily header the output ROM, and the input ROM was headered, which most are. I never use headered zips. People should stop using headered zips. Zip archive managers complain the zip is invalid because the SNES header will end up in front of the zip file. Include zip so people can use it without the zoo patch. Update the dog rip so it leaves less vibrant than it could. Maybe that was it. Maybe it made it so you couldn't see it. Include a small ledge at the end of room to step into the credit sequence more deliberate. Change the music to a different mood. Consider small change in the palette. Translate or alter exhibition text. Write documentation. Create the actual zip entry / zip ROM. Make sure you don't leave any possible traces of these final notes in the zip since author is judging. Okay, this is clearly intentionally left here to kind of creepypasta ourselves, I guess. But apparently Author Blues didn't care much. This is involved. Alright, what was the way you do this? Git checkout master. Git checkout main. I didn't... Okay, I probably did make changes. Because I probably took away a new line at the end. See, this is why I don't want to play a text adventure game. Are you kidding me? I'm in a detached head state. How do I get out of detached head? Maybe check out a different thing? I did not mean to modify it, and git checkout does not... Git restore? I've never even heard of git restore. How old is the version of git I'm using here? Try that one. Let's do this. Hey, look, it's still there. I don't want to commit this. I hate git. That's what I need, a giant cookie message when I'm trying to figure out what to do here. Tried that. Like, I wonder if part of this is like Dropbox BS is sitting on Windows and this isn't. So I wonder if there's some sort of disk incongruence. What we might do... Let me hide this for a moment. Is it still open? No. No, it's not. Let me do something really quick. Because I don't need this. I'm going to put it in temp. And then we'll copy the zip file out of the mount, and hopefully that'll help. It's not Dropbox. It's actually not Dropbox. I just call it Dropbox. But it is mounted via the mechanism that they use, and so it could be messing with it, and it could... I've had problems with this in the past. smc.zip. Unzip the obvious thing. Okay, cool. Clear. Alright, so that should be fine now. We can go back to looking at this. Once I get back to it. Alright, so now... Okay, that is much better. That is a much cleaner environment, and I suspect it was some sort of Windowsism getting out from underneath us. We don't need the zip file. Okay, cool. Now we can actually do Git stuff. Alright, well, let's look at the next one. Let's look at... Man, which one do we want to look at? I guess we kind of want to like Git bisect almost. Automod? Change name to OneDrive to not confuse viewers. Viewers, it's auto-modded because that's a word that you shouldn't use. But I'll let it through. Into a file in the cloud and overwriting the freshly reverted. Once again, I want to stress, it's just called Dropbox. I don't actually use the piece of software named Dropbox. It's just called it because that's what you call some place you put stuff. Its entire purpose is to serve as a go-between between my Mac computers and this Windows computer where I can put things temporarily. I do need to clean it out. It's got a lot of garbage in it right now. Also, a dumb question. I wonder, let's actually bounce back to Firefox briefly, if that name is significant. Because I don't know, it seems like a weird name. Alright. Seems like a French name. Alright, well, that was fun. We'll go back to this. The other one. What do you want to tell me we can find the best stream goers? That's a good question. I'm good for now. Alright, let's actually check out the next thing and see the difference. Detached head. Copying. What is copying? Why did I do that? That was silly. Copying. Okay, copying. Floating IPS is licensed. Okay, well that answers that question. And then the GPL 3, 1.3 or 13, I don't know, doesn't matter. Notes, check out notes has changed significantly. It does not appear to have changed. All right, so now we can just go up the... There's probably a more efficient way of doing this. We're not doing it the efficient way, but we'll check out the notes as they get updated. What's up, Groovy Gadget? How you doing? We're doing Git nonsense. Wait, what am I doing? We should be using Git diff. Git diff. This and this. Okay, floating IPS, the GPL3. We're not reading the GPL3. Update the dog rip. Didn't we see it earlier? Turns out re-ripping the dog didn't actually improve quality all that much. Might just leave that out. I think I flipped these two around. Taking a break. Now, playing Tears of the Kingdom. Nice. Alright, Git. Check out main Git log. Alright. Compare. Because I want to compare before and after, don't I? If someone's actually good at Git and knows a faster way to do this, feel free to tell me. Include a small ledge, make it one screen longer. For some reason, it seems like adding a ledge at the end is not an option. Guess there's probably some code running that depends upon the Y position at the end of the screen to teleport to the credits. Oh. Okay. This is actually working better now. I am so glad I switched input sources for this. Oh. Doof. Okay, floating IPS, we removed these, that's all good. And it's now gone. That's not surprising. What am I trying to do? I don't know! We're looking at stuff. We're looking for something. I'm not sure what we're looking for, but clearly this was left here intentionally. So let me put it this way, right? If I'm working on a project I want people to see, I make notes like this. If I'm working on a project I expect no one but me to ever see, every commit has some variation of the message ADSD or woo or something else. there's clearly some sort of signal here that the author of this wants us to see, because they left their entire Git repo in here. I refuse to believe that someone who took the effort to make a IPS that turned the ROM itself into a zip file would be so technically inept they would leave the Git repo in here for no apparent reason. And the biggest indication of that is that note at the bottom. Let's look at notes.txt again. It's going to make what I need to do next annoying, but we can do that. Oh, notes is gone because I'm in the main. But it literally says remove this and leave no source, leave no trace, because auth is judging this. So clearly they wanted us to see this. That's where I'm at with this. So we're just going through and looking at the diffs because maybe one of them is interesting. I don't know if one of them is going to be interesting, but we're just going to try anyway. All right, I changed the mood. Want to alter the credits. Make sure you don't leave some possible traces of notes in the zip because author's judging. Okay. Like I said, there's stuff in here that's clearly signal. Okay, notes on V2, on V1. Change the music to something semi-creepy. Think it accentuates the dog's ambiguous expression. No palette changes for now. Notice there is no actual Nintendo Presents at the start. I thought there might have been broken that, but that's just how it is apparently. Been lengthened by one screen. I think it's a good addition. Overall, the vibe is definitely different. Is it improved? Not entirely sure. We'll probably need to refine further. And the binary files are different. So we could actually look at V1 BPS versus the other BPSs. There's probably some value in keeping track of that. Like, there's got to be something here. Because what this actually is incredibly annoying and a tremendous waste of time. Up to this point, I'm hoping. We'll see. Okay. Need flips. V1 update notes. Oh, how embarrassing. Making a typo that people are going to see on Twitch. They typoed section. Oh man, they definitely deserve to be mocked forever. All right, let's try that again. Git diff. The last one I have is the next one I want, so at least I've optimized that a bit. Ask some questions. What questions should we be asking? Well, I think you're seeing we're looking at a git log because clearly there's some sort of something happening here. And I don't know what else to do. All right, they fixed the typo. That's lovely. All right, here we go. Maybe I've not been asking myself the right question. What actually makes the dog so interesting, so ambiguous? What is the overall pull of the zoo? What does it evoke in its visitors? It is a paladin. What's a paladin? Like that. At this point, I figure there's got to be a puzzle or something in here that makes all of this worthwhile somehow. But I don't know why. Anyway, remove flips, V1, typo, ask some questions. So ask some questions should be the one we currently have on our paste bin. Okay, a discovery. This better be good. Like there even more. Maybe check again if we can get a ledge going. Change untitled artist to unknown artist? Am I changing the vision? Why? Is there an exit to level 106 on screen 01? I may be onto something. The dog's name is Maddie, apparently a rescue pit bull. People regard her expression as humorous, but also slightly unsettling. Not sure if this helps as much. Presumably, part of what makes the entry work is the anticipation of seeing the message at the start, then seeing the actual dog. Already good, then the immediate move to the credits. It follows a very fast pace. It does not linger or explain itself. It's also interesting that the text at the start claims that the artist is untitled. Is that a mistake? It couldn't be. What does it mean for an artist to be untitled? Is it a comment on class? Why isn't the piece dated? Why was there actual care put into switching the patterns of the foreground floor sometimes during the first screen but not on the actual dog screen? Is it to give the dog space and not distract from it? I feel like this is getting me nowhere. I so relate to that last one. Get Krong, you never expect to see an SFW? It's what I've been given. It's what I've been given. Oh yeah, I'll do this. I guess actually yeah, that's too much. Which one we were on? I completely forgot. DDE. Alright. This would be so much easier on GitHub. Alright, fix the bug in V1 preventing credits. Not sure why it happened. There's a sprite in the vanilla zoo, and removing it seems to have re-enabled going to the credits. Not sure what the sprite is or does. Maybe it's not important. Okay, get diff this, run EB, just the BPS, nothing else. Okay. Get crawling. Now that's what I call SMW. Definitely cannot put a Wonder Dog song, or an actual Wonder Dog song, okay, definitely cannot put a Wonder Dog song, or an actual Undertale dog song in this. That would be not okay. That's wrong. Fair point. That would be pretty silly. After all, dogs in Undertale are really silly. Okay, continue updating notes. Make sure you don't leave any possible traces of these notes. They've removed the to-dos, I suppose. They've spelled section wrong again, which is weird. Is that really it? Did I diff against the right things? Okay, this is just removing a lot of stuff we just read, so that doesn't really help us. Replace the TXT file with a different TXT file? Oh, the blue is hard to read on the projector screen. Notes compared to... what is dog.txt? Ah, okay. Fascinating. Like News at 11, News 101. Why you complain when Americans not be able to spike... What? What am I What? Anyway, 1D9. Okay, how much further do we need to go in this? We have several pages of this to go. I really wish I had a better way of doing this. Wait, I went backwards. That's what happened. I went backwards. Okay. Yeah, 198, I went backwards. Okay. Because the fix a typo embarrassing thing was a comment on that, but I went backwards and that's not as embarrassing. Okay, what I did? 987. You think that'd be easier to remember? Okay. Also, I can be smarter than this. Okay, 987, 987. Here we go. Use Control-Z, not Control-C. Then we will be able to resume where we were. A note on music, an idea on music. Here's what we really want to be diffing. A note on music and an idea on music. What if you pair the dog with this song? Is it crazy? Can we even do that? Gotta do that. All right, well, let's check out what this is. Is this the track that we were listening to briefly in there? Guess I should make it so y'all can see this. Boop. Twin Peaks, Audrey's Dance. Excerpt. Because I should also hear this, and it's probably too loud. This seems fine too, I guess. It's creepier. I only feel the need to listen to this more. I've also never seen Twin Peaks. It's diff hid. Oh, well, that's worth a shot. Like I said, I'm not good at Gid. Turns out no one really is. Has anything happened over... Actually, check over here. Nope, nothing's happened. Okay, where were we? Let me grab that information out of a spot. I can steal that. That would be great. Let's see what this does, and if we can do it more than once. Do not copy and paste things directly from Twitch into your console. It might be a bad idea. 11:12. Oh, okay. Didn't like that. It didn't like that for some reason. There's definitely more than 12 commits. Try what it said? No. Alright, if someone figures this out, I'll stop doing the dumb thing, but in the meantime... Oh, no worries. It is totally fine. I didn't mean to quit. What was the last log? Number... OCC. That's probably not annoying every time I've been doing this. Okay, OCC. Get diff. On the other hand, this other song brings attention to the room. Works beautifully when it was immediately resolved via the credits. Tried a second one, seems interesting, definitely a different vibe, might necessitate a shift towards a less vibrant palette. Oh, still on the browser? Whoops! Well, it's okay, because we're about to go back to the browser anyway. We've revealed unto all of you how bad at this I actually am. There's a reason I stick with one, like, scene per stream. Brainplague. Okay. It's a Daiso level, ported by Scooter and Daiso. I've definitely heard this one a good number of times. Alright, we'll stick with this. This is good and creepy while we get crawling. I don't mind this. Also, that level's awesome. Okay, so we did this. Tried the second one, seems interesting. Definitely a different vibe. Right. Okay. I quit again. 83. 83. Remember to Control Z, not Control C or Control D. Okay, here we go. Seems to exhibit similar weird behavior where it doesn't actually send to the credits. Not sure what to do about this long term. Adds a new palette and music. It will accentuate the tension of the dog. All it does is have the BPSs differ, which is great. And then we can already go up to the next one. Only further confusion. Wouldn't it be great if I didn't keep making that mistake? Turns out the untitled artist thing can't really be a mistake. After all, unknown parent comes right from the text. On that note, what does that mean, unknown parent? Parent of the dog? People often call owners that, affectionately. I'm not a huge fan of calling them parents. That's kind of weird to me. But the owners of this dog are known. So the actual parent of the dog? Why singular? Is it referring to the dog is a rescue? Thus the parents could potentially be unknown? What do you mean Dev null differs? It's a tilde, not a caret? Alright, we'll try that. I don't know where we are in the listings. That had no diff. I don't... Oh, wait, hold up. That's my bad. I see the double lines. Oh, yeah, that works. Alright, which one am I on? I don't know which one I'm on. Okay, yeah, so this is closer to where we were. I don't know where exactly we were, but we're going to keep going till we find it. And then go up from there. Except I want them backwards. I want to be comparing 15 to 14. There we go. Alright. So I think that's okay. Once again, the blue is not easy for me to read on the projector. I think the blue head's a little misaligned. But, alright, so change this up to 13 and this to 14. That's our version shift. But now, because we're not looking at the logs, we're not getting the commit messages, which sucks. So yeah, this is that one. Okay, so go to 12 and 13. Right, so yes, we've read this message. 11 and 12. Just removing these. Consider small changes palette, change unknown artist. No, we're not doing that. Okay. Notes on version 2.1. 2.1 contains a darker palette, more tense music, as well as actual factual ledge on the right side. I think it's really strong. Also leaves the art museum vibe of the original behind. More of an all-dark castle kind of deal, I guess. Think it's pretty good? I don't know, maybe. Again, thank you for finding this. It's a tremendous boon. Okay. I didn't break the credit entering, did I? It seems like Idle's original entry also sometimes doesn't let you enter the credits, or is it just me? Am I losing it? I never knew about this. If it's actually the case, there's There's so much depth to this. Can you believe this didn't get a distinction? Crazy. Yes, I can. I bet the judges didn't even know Idle actually is in the credit sequence. It's true, just not visibly. But they didn't even notice that the castle palette is overridden either. I might have noticed, but I just didn't care because I've seen the credits so many times. I basically assume if someone's messed up the credit sequence, it's not something of consequence. It's literally just they messed it up at some point and just didn't give a shit. Like, I've moderated so many hacks, my assumption is just people generally don't have a general lack of care towards that kind of thing. Oh, how you doing, Noah? Okay. How much of the humor comes from the fact that the credit music breaks? I hope that's not important. Don't know how to preserve that. Okay. 6, 7. Okay, after some thought, it seems we're better off turning this into an epilogue, removing the dog entirely and making the subject the gallery of the original prelude to itself. An interesting premise. The empty frame showing that we are no longer merely considering the dog a piece, but the original entry itself. This can be further emphasized by a new message at the original start position, as well as a new starting position to the right, where we originally went to see the zoo, and have now returned once more, perhaps irregularly, to the gallery. Yeah, we entered through the gift shop. The music can stay the same, the tension now coming from being in a place that we are no longer supposed to be, a place that is only revisited in error. We were meant to stay in the zoo, and now we've re-entered where we must not be. Not ever again. This can be further accentuated by the music fading, and the game crashing rather than any clean resolution. That answers that question. This was a tremendous waste of everybody's time. BPSs differ. B4 changes direction completely. See what is dog for details. I think this is where we will stay. So that was probably what, this is probably what is dog. God, that's worse. Yes, it is. Okay. All right. This is where the README comes in. Let's look at get log. We haven't seen the commit messages in a while, and those also have useful knowledge. Add v4, a new direction. Okay. Add admission. Update notes, update README, add README, change title and restructure, fix coin chime on presents in README 2, darken Mario palette. Okay, we're almost done. 3. All right, so this just removes the notes. Hopefully so Author Blues won't see it. And all of these things are different. And it removes all the old versions. I didn't do this right, yeah. Alright, well, that is the thing it was. I do wonder if this was intentional. I feel like it must have been. But that's all I can say. Like, clearly that was the intentional thing, was to crash the game. Where it's confirmed in this log. I kind of expected some sort of preview-pasta thing, but, like, this is it. There's nothing else here. I don't know, I feel like I've been led on, like, 50 Wild Goose Chases. Like, this was a complete and utter waste of time. In a lot of ways. In some ways, I kind of liked it. Like, Git hunting was cool. There's some stuff in the judging thing. I'm gonna take a look. Yeah. That's it. I don't... Are they worth patching? Except the first character reward? No. We could try them. I guess that there's some value in that. Let's see, where's the which is the one where they removed all of the prior versions? We'll copy that somewhere I can use them. Was it between 2 and 3? It was between 2 and 3, so let's check out this version. I guess head 3 is what I really want. So yeah, we have the different versions. Why the hell not? These will patch cleanly. Okay. Let me... do I need this? I need a different one now. Okay. Alright, now we need to do a little bit of moving work. Guess the best way to do this. Move the whole directory to mount D, Dropbox, dog. This moving was unnecessary. We could have stuck with that. Okay. Turn this off. Kill the creepy audio. I don't know why I'm muting tab. Go back over here to where it's crashed. Oh, that is actually right. I'm just dumb. Okay. This is an easy fix, bizarrely enough. Copy that into the cache directory with its name as the number, with its crc.sfc, and then this will work. We got it. I mean, we probably have something. Yeah, we definitely have something. It's the same thing, except the music is dumber. Weirder. And then the credits roll? Does anything happen when the credits roll? Does this say anything different? Prelude to the Zoo. This is still Idle's thing in its entirety. Like, this is... Nothing has changed aside from the music being weirder. Let's try the next one. 13 and Very Deep. Something like that. Gonna go to version 2. I'm gonna have such a hard time cutting this up for YouTube, by the way. It's just gonna be a nightmare. I have the coin noise, that was mentioned. Okay, now today's piece is entitled Eye of Dog, Impenetrable Gaze, Unknown Parent, Unknown Artist, blah, 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 blah. Except it's creepy. The room is longer, and dog! Okay. I mean, at this point, I'm beginning to think that quite literally, this person works in Git and did not mean to include these, possibly. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of engaging in some sort of voyeurism. Voyeurism? Whatever it is. Why would you cut it? The entire experience? There's an awful lot of dead time where I'm mumbling about stuff. But you might have a valid point. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Can't unsee the dog harm? Yes, that is the word I tried to say. Alright, well, that was... Oh, wait, hold up. Which one was that? Was that V2? We have V2.1, which we probably should look at. There we go. Because nothing appears to have changed significantly. Coin noise is still there. We're still using the same title message. But now, oh, there's a ledge. I forgot about the ledge. I don't feel the ledge added much to it. I can see why they got rid of it. All right. We got one more. Well, we have two more, really. Actually, oh, I don't want to deal with that. Yeah, I can't deal with that. Oh, but maybe should. Okay, well, I'll think about this for a minute. But let's see if this is any different. Okay, this is very similar to the other things. The gallery weren't supposed to open. Today's piece was titled Prelude to the Zoo by Untitled Idol. You have enjoyed. And it crashes. That felt like the one we saw. Maybe V4 is something different. The pool have permission to drive to the shops, get energy drinks. What? Don't ask me for permission. You can just do this. You're an adult. I'm an adult. Two energies for one. Now you're one. Don't blame me on wanting an energy drink, though. Alright, this is V4. Maybe it's different. It dings. The music is different. That's it. Okay. We have one last thing we can see. So a point that I guess I should make is that there's always been this untracked file, and we're going to go back to the other view to see it really quick. There's always been this untracked file data. So you see data right there. I mean, I'm pointing at it, but you can't see it anyway. Wait, what? No, it still crashed. We're going to see if that data file is something, because that's the last thing I can think of. It's a dot file, so it should be hard to see, but we'll try it. You know what? I'm going to rename it first, because that'll be annoying to be on my SD2SNES. Dog. I would call this dog v... dog. Just dog. You know it's an SFC file, because it's there. It failed to load. It crashed, but it failed to load. It failed to load after a while. String out of bounds. Wait, what? Oh, well, maybe it doesn't work. Let's try it in Messen first before I give up. Because I did think it was a SFC. It's headered. It has the right length. It doesn't have wrong things in it. I have Messen open still, don't I? I don't. Requires firmware file for DSP1B. I don't... What? Okay, no, I don't have that. What the hell is this? What? There's something more to this. Sup, Underway? How you doing? If this is yours, please tell me I'm chasing a weird dead end trying to do anything with this dot data file. Like, are we just at a like anything? Audio drivers? No, it's firmware for a specific sub chip. It's used in like Pilot Wings. Like, I just don't do any of that. I never play Pilot Wings. All right, well, let's go find the firmware and see if I can get this to boot. I don't know if I'll be able to get it on SD2SNES, but at least if I can boot it in Messen, we'll see something. Data is just the actual playable ROM? Then why didn't it work? Why am I getting a CRC error if I'm putting it into... What? I'm confused. I'm so confused. This should make sense, and it's not making sense. Is it literally... It's what makes the zip a ROM. Oh! Okay. Alright. Well, okay, so there's no signal there. No, we're not reopening. We're done. Alright, well, thank you for the level. That was long. No, I have not reconsidered. I didn't even know it was called Prelude to the Zoo. I legitimately did not know that. But other than that, no. I think in the judging sheet that I made, it was named after the piece, Impenetrable Gaze, Eye of Dog, or whatever. And that's what it got called in other places, because typically what ends up happening is if I'm judging, I'm the only person who ever writes down level names. And it was an IPS file, yes, which is really annoying. I'm still surprised you can't make a BPS file that's also a zip. I feel that should be possible. I'm also still not sure what to make of the actual contents. Like, what was the contents of this? You can? So then why was it an IPS file? It makes the zip file more shit? I guess that's fine. That makes sense, I suppose. I guess that makes sense. This just was a large exercise in difficulty of getting everything working. Harder to open, and some zip archives call it invalid. That's fair. I did the wrong thing at the start and tried to use the IPS itself as a zip file, and that caused problems until I got around to the SFC file. I'm still not sure what to make of this at all. Like, I don't think I played a level. I did play a level, but I didn't. I think I mostly spent my time in Git. it certainly was an interesting experience playing in Git. And just for my edification, is the Git repo supposed to be here? Just for my edification. That's all I want to know. Was this intentional? It looked intentional. It felt intentional, but I want to know. Consider making the patch itself a zip, but that might be impossible. Interesting. I mean, I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be. You're not going to tell me that? That's fair. I'll ask later. Maybe. And get an answer. Maybe. Maybe I won't. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. At least none of you can see. You know, it occurs to me that because of the way I position this, chat doesn't actually show up. I could have done this better in retrospect. You don't disclose that kind of information in general. I guess that makes sense. The part where it says make sure Author Blues doesn't find this is quite telling, though, I suppose. Either way, I took way longer than expected. Mysterious indeed. I kind of wish I'd done this. It would have been smart. Oh well. Next time. Rico Suave. Would have been smart. Eccentric. Yeah, I think I'm done with that. I'm going to turn on some creepy music and type the words judging notes because it feels appropriate for this. Notes. Notes not found. Surprising no one. Alright, I'm going to write some notes and then we'll see about getting started on that last one. For a name. Oh God, what was the name of this? Where do I even have that information? And I stand by my judgment. Epilogue to the prelude to the zoo. Justice for Prelude. Yes, bring justice that victims have suffered enough. I think Idle is doing just fine without an extra PNG.